podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Deus Ex Media.
Content Capable acknowledges the Indigenous people on the land on which we record this podcast, the Turungurung people. We offer our respect to their elders, past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Sovereignty was never ceded. Welcome to Content Capable, a podcast all about trying to find your place in the world. Joining me today is Bri Jean. Hi, Bri Jean.
Hi, how are we?
I am well. For the listeners, who are you? I know who you are.
We've just had a brief chat. No, I am there's so many titles and stuff. So most people would know me from TikTok. I am a smaller creator. No call me Chris, but I am an Australian content creator that specialises more in Canberra-sided content and political content and comedy, sort of pop culture stuff. And then I'm also, for my 9 to 5, I am a real estate agent in Canberra.
It's a very busy set of things to be doing all at once.
Yeah, it is. It's a very, I don't have much time off, but I've created this, I'm a busy bee and I'm neurodivergent, so I need to stay busy all the time. Otherwise I'll combust. So I just like to go 200 miles an hour.
My mother never tested me to see if I was neurodivergent. She did test my younger siblings because they were a little bit more crazy than I was, but I always tell everyone that, you know, if I'm not doing something, I'm bored and I need something to do.
That is a sign. That is a sign.
Yeah.
I think the best thing that I heard about neurodivergency is that everyone has to pee, but if you have to pee 30 times a day, that's when it becomes a problem and you should be trying to do something to fix it. It's the same as neurodivergence. And that's the sort of thing I live by. Everyone has elements, but if it's impeding on your life, then that's when you have to do something about it. Yeah.
But it's I can't believe that I haven't spoken to you before. This season of Content and Capable, I really am trying to prioritize more Australians on the podcast because it gets very, like, the internet is just very American centric.
Oh, yes.
And it just, like, bringing more Australians who are proud about being Australians as well and, like, keen to show off, you know, their Australianness or at least your Canberra-ness as well, which is like frowned upon within.
It's an uphill battle, man. It's an uphill battle.
But yeah, I was like, yes, I should totally speak to more Australians, and I can't think of anyone more Australian than Bri at the moment.
Thank you. I don't know if that's my accent or what, but thank you so much.
I think it's definitely of all things. I've just moved to a new town in rural Victoria, and I have not lived west of the Ranges.
Oh, right.
Ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's it's taken a bit.
And I'm very familiar with people from west of the Ranges. We go, where I've spent time here. I've just never lived here.
Yeah.
And I think people are more Australian west of the Ranges.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're a little bit more laid back, larrikin-y.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, because along the coast, it's just so busy,
Well, there's actually studies that have done, and I don't know why I remember this, but it was on ABC, so therefore it has to have an element of truth, right?
Yeah.
Is that the Australian accent, when it starts up north, it's actually to do with the weather. Our accents are actually determined by, have an element because of the weather. So up north, because it's hotter, because it's more sweaty, the accent actually draws out a lot more. But when you come south and you get into the cooler weather, our accents get quicker and snappier. It has everything to do with the weather. Well, not everything, but an element of that Australian accent, and that is like all has an element to do with the weather.
I suppose it's like in America and the South where their accents are so much more broad.
Yeah, I found myself turning into that when I lived over there. So I found myself actually slipping into, and it was easier to talk to them in a fake American accent. Like I worked at a summer camp and then I traveled, and you would ask for something and they wouldn't know what you're saying. So you just put the accent on and they're like, "Oh, why didn't you say that before?" And I'm like, What do you want from me?
Yeah.
So,
No, I almost had the same. It was a drinking game.
Yep.
And for the rest of the round, I had to speak with a southern accent, which then prompted everyone. We were in the state of Virginia at that point.
Virginia's great, by the way. I loved Virginia when
amazing.
I was there. Yeah.
And everyone around me then also jumped into their larger southern drawls, and it was very loud.
It's very loud. I remember partying with some of them, and it's just like, whoa. But apparently, they kept comparing me to Rebel Wilson. They kept saying like, oh, you sound like Rebel Wilson. You sound so Australian. And then they had I think we had about 10 Aussies there, and they were just like, no, you're the most ochre. And they didn't know what that word meant, but I said, oh, you mean ochre? And they went, what's ochre? And I was like, it means like really, not bogan, just like really thick with the accent. And they went, yeah, you sound like Rebel Wilson. And I was like, I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. I need to watch more Rebel Wilson films.
I don't think I do.
Point.
I think it was just because I was blonde and Australian, and they just didn't really have any other assimilation other than, like, I'm no Margot Robbie, so the next best thing is Rebel Wilson, and I'm sorry, that is a great podium to be on.
Oh, look, if someone's being compared to Rebel Wilson, I think we've won as Australians, right?
Absolutely. I'm on board.
I'm just now thinking about Rebel Wilson's accent, which I'm trying to find hard to place on the Queensland to Melbourne to South Australia line of Australian accents.
She's originally from Sydney, I think. So I think it's more the East Coast, sort of southern.
With a little bit of Eshe in.
With a little bit of Eshe. God, that Eshe. The Eshes are in, man. Eshes are on trend.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I'm loving the fact that Eshes are just a resurgence of Eshe culture.
Just come to Belconnen Mall. You'll see all the Eshes around, man. Like I
did last time I was there.
No, they're prominent out in Belconnen Mall, man.
It's great.
Their stomping ground.
Speaking of Belconnen Mall, how did you stumble into advocating to all of Australia and the world that Canberra is actually a good place to be?
Jesus, way to put that pressure on. No, I didn't. I prior to the Canberra stuff, I did this sort of tea thing, and it was just like a tea diary sort of thing I just did it because it was funny and people were laughing, like sort of how I was reacting to some of the teas at T2. And then one day, I think one of my friends just went, I think it was that annoying thing that all Canberrans have. It was that whole, today in Canberra. And every Canberran worth their salt who actually likes living here at least will just go, ugh. Because it's, again, and I will stipulate it on this podcast now, it is not Canberra, it's Parliament House. What you're referencing is Parliament House. You don't say, what you'll say is the White House when you're referencing DC. You'll say Big Ben when you're referencing London. There's those distinctions, but for some reason in the Australian culture, we just reference Canberra, and therefore, and everyone does it. It's not just like conservative media or left, everyone does it. And so I think I just had a fed up day that day, and so I just filmed it and just went, no, stuff this. So I'm just going to film places around Canberra, and then I'll put a voiceover. I uploaded it at midnight because I was just like, whatever. Went to bed, woke up, and it was 13, at that stage, it was 13,000 people liked it. I had over 200,000 views. I didn't know what to do. And I was just like, and only one friend that I knew of was on TikTok at that time. So I called her and I was like, I don't know what the flop is happening. She goes, just write it. And I was like, okay, all right. So I guess we're going up Mount Cook today because I have no idea what else to do. And then it just bred out this whole advocacy.
Yeah, look, it's a fascinating thing. I'll plug this at the end again, but I've just finished reading the Girt. So David Hunt, a comedian, wrote a whole set of books about Australia's history, and the third book I finished on my road trip down to Victoria in January, and it was. It's called Girt Nation, and it goes all the way up to about 1904, 1905-ish. Okay. So just after Federation, just as the White Australia policy is really coming into effect here in Australia.
We do not love that, but we love a White Australian policy. We do not.
No.
We do not. That
but
is the
it's
bad
very
part
fascinating.
about history.
Yeah, it's very fascinating, the anger around Canberra just in general at that time.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of we have to build outside of Sydney and Melbourne, and everyone's very upset. You know, the premiers of New South Wales and Victoria are at each other's throats. And I think that kind of culture of that, you know, we hate Canberra for hating Canberra's sake kind of
definitely
into it. Yeah,
it definitely, because we're bred out of an idea. We're bred out of fighting. We're not bred out of the idea of like, oh, we should create an amazing nation capital. We're not built for that. We were built under the idea of like Melbourne has all the public service, Sydney has all the beautiful landscape and whatever, and they have I don't know, I don't think they had much public service up there. I know Melbourne held the public service at that point, and they just could not, and they still don't. They still fight. Like, that's the thing. Exactly. They still fight, and especially COVID brought that out more than anything. Even Queensland jumped in there for a bit, and I was like, oi, up north, you shush. You just shush right now. So we gotta rear our ugly heads and our backwards ways for like a hot second, just to remind everyone how crazy we are. But like, here's the thing, and it's just like, but like sometimes you guys have good things to say. Like sometimes you guys are just like have a chill perspective, and it's like, because you have two very busy bodies just going. Yeah. But that's why Canberra was made, because you guys couldn't stop fighting, and so it just. When you narrow it down, everything can be put down into preschool toddler arguments, pretty much. Like that's how life is. Preschool toddler arguments that people don't know how to deal with. So
exactly. It feels very funny reading, and I think this is why it's great to read an account from a comedian about Australia's history, because looking back on the first 100 years... I want to read it. I haven't read it. I'm going to read it after this. That sounds great. It's a series of 3 books. I think if you've got Amazon, I think it's included for free. Oh, okay. So,
sweet. I do have Amazon. Thank you, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. I've been accidentally paying for Amazon for the last 3 months. But yeah, it was amazing just to see it from a funnier perspective, and then, you know, on top of it all, learning so much more about like just stuff that they aren't bothered to put in a history curriculum, or don't have time to put in a history curriculum, and just going, oh, this is just so much more interesting than, you know, I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and I don't think those primary school visits here are doing any help either.
No.
They're not good. I get it. We all get why they do it, but at the same time, it's the same thing. You go to Parliament House, the War Memorial, hands down, still great. I'll go every time I'm there. I'll go War Memorial. We love a War Memorial. Questacon even, just the only reason people remember Questacon is because the only fun part of that whole trip. Like, no one else remembers. They remember Parliament, War Memorial, Questacon, maybe that like Regatta Point. Oh my God, I just had a space moment then. Regatta Point, where they talk about how Canberra was made. That is the most boring trip I could ever possibly think of. I think I did it, and I live here. Like, and I was just like, this is so boring. I haven't been to Parliament House in a decade, and I live here. Like,
last time I went to Parliament House, it was about 5 minutes before the place shut, and so I was like, okay. And I'd been a few years beforehand with the National Youth Science Forum back when they did it in person in Canberra.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And my brother had never been to Canberra. He'd missed out on the trip. So I was actually quite mad about the whole thing.
Oh, okay. I'll take him.
He missed comedically. So they used to do it in year 10, and then they swapped it down to like year 8. But when they swapped it was the year that he went into year 9.
Right.
So he missed the whole thing and was very upset by it. Anyway, we ended up going, and it was 5 minutes before closing. I was like, okay, the one thing that we need to see here is the Lego Parliament House. That's all you need to see. There's nothing else.
I mean, it's true. It's true.
You get to see everything in there.
I did actually have to go to Parliament House recently when I was doing some stuff for the election. I wasn't actually in the election, and they were just like doing a pub test, and I was part of that. Yeah. But I was just like, really? I don't want to be here.
It's horrible to get to as well. Like, it just... driving
so
in there.
Yeah. Like, it looks great. Like, you know where you are. If you can see the flag, you know what you're pretty much in the inner north or the inner south, and stuff. But to actually get inside, I've done formals there. I photographed formals there. It's annoying. It's annoying. And the cops walking around and stuff. It's not as bad as the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Yeah, or it's not as bad as that. But it's still annoying.
Oh, wow. I didn't know the Eiffel Tower was...
They walk around with AK-47s.
Oh, no, thank you.
Yeah.
We were terrified enough with the police just walking around, and we had gotten lost and couldn't figure out how to get into the car park.
Yeah.
And we did about 2 or 3 laps before we figured it out.
Yeah.
And we're like, shit, the police are going to really be suspicious.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think I left my camera bag down there one time and they actually removed it thinking it was a bomb threat because I left it on the ground there for a second. And so it had my expensive camera gear in there and I was just like, where is it? And they're like, oh, we just took it to security. We thought it was a bomb threat. And I was like, okay, that sounds normal. Like,
it's just
here to
so
here,
very
so quick.
casual, right? If they thought it was another country and they thought it was a bomb threat, there would be thousands of sirens and yelling and bits and pieces. Nah, we thought it was a bomb threat, so we took it to security.
Yeah. So anyway, that was fun, but I kind of have like. I would love if adults would do an updated version of a tour of Canberra and you wouldn't go to any of those places. Like in my head, you'd go like to Ben Spoke because Ben Spoke is huge outside of Canberra. It is so big. My sister lives in Newcastle and she's lived in Canberra her whole life, but she came back and visited and she goes, can we go to Ben Spoke? And I was like, why? And she went, because it's awesome. And I went, okay. Apparently it's huge in outside of Canberra is Ben Spoke Brewery. So, and then you got Capital Brewery as well. We have a lot of alcohol.
Do a good pub crawl.
You could do a fantastic pub crawl, but just do it on a bus. Like, just do a drive-by. We don't need to see inside. Just, Parliament House, cool. Albo actually does live in Canberra in comparison to ScoMo, so he gets props for that.
Yeah.
But
he could come on the pub crawl with us.
Oh, I would love it. Would love that. Do it.
Oh, that would be so good.
He could do that as part of his election campaign.
Oh, there was one campaign with a bus. I forget. I don't know. It might be a UK thing. Someone brought a bus around. Actually, it was this federal election. Someone brought a bus around and it was actually illegal. Oh, it was ambulance, I think.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and it was actually illegal. Like they'd done up this ambulance. It's like you can't do that. Like it's unroadworthy. You can't drive it anywhere. It was great.
I love that.
But I could definitely see Albo just decking out a bus and going around in that. And have like micro, like brewery.
Yeah, they're a bit bigger than micro at this point because Capital Brewery is probably more popular here in Canberra than Ben Spoke. But Ben Spoke has a bigger presence nationally from the sounds of it. Then we also have...
It is fascinating.
Yeah, and then we have Canberra Distillery, which create amazing gins. And then we have all the wineries outside. Like we actually have distinct winery areas. So you have the Yass winery area, and then you have the north of that, which is the Lake George winery and stuff.
Yeah.
So we have call it what you will. Yes, we probably have a lot of alcohol around here, but we have a lot of public servants around here too. So we need to take care of them. We need to make sure they're okay.
Yeah. No, it is fascinating. I think as soon as you get west of the Great Dividing Range, there's way more wineries. Like I'm living next to a winery right now. So
Rutherglen wineries. Oh, loved them.
Yeah. And then all the good distilleries. My parents went to Tasmania for a week and came back with an expensive taste in gin. And we've never been able to drink gin with them ever since.
My mother's the same. Don't worry. She's fine. That's why I know about Canberra. Canberra Distillery, I think, invited me to a tasting once. And I think it was towards Mother's Day. And I just went, hey, Mum, I've got a +1. I was like, yes, Mother's Day gift done. So that was great. And I actually learnt about their slow gin there. But anyway, besides the alcohol.
I think we could talk about alcohol forever in a day.
Could probably, yes.
But and then, obviously everything else that you can do in Canberra as well, showcasing... like lovely events and activities and, all the festivals that seem to be coming to Canberra right now.
Yeah. So I'm about to go to Somersault next week, which is great, which is just like Angus Julius Stoner headlining that one, which will be great. That'll be at Stage 88. Look, I think the beauty, because obviously Canberra, it doesn't have like beaches or anything like that. So we've had to get really creative in terms of how we get people to be in the community community. So it has meant thinking outside the box. I know they did we're going back to alcohol, but I know they did a gin, or they did like a festival on the Queen Elizabeth Island at the lake, and they made that like a 2-day festival. Like, you have to think outside the box here, like in terms of getting people involved. I am of the belief that Canberra is not built for young people. It's just not. It's too far away from everything that you need a car or you need some sort of transport, but it's too close to everything as well. It's this weird mix. And growing up here, on TikTok, obviously, I am probably part of the older part of TikTok. I see the teenagers go, Canberra's so bad and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, true. Like, I have no disagreements there. Growing up here is really, really tough. But the minute you hit 18, all these doors open up. Like, and you're like, oh, I get it. Like, I just get it. But it really does suck that the Canberra community doesn't really support younger people better, because
I'm guessing it's this nationwide assumption that, you know, because you've got all the embassies and, you know, all the public servants, and that's the core function of Canberra, that there's a forgetting that, you know, there are families here with children and things, you know,
it's
to
safe.
be able to do.
Families come here because it's safe. It's like it's very small. It's manageable. You can get anywhere within 25 minutes. That's why families come here. But I think what's also important is that people think the age demographic here is like a lot older. The reason we have all these things, the age demographic in Canberra is like 18. Our biggest age range is 18 to 35.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
So when people go, oh, only old people live there, I'm like, no, they all go up north once they've retired. Like, they leave. And we have the public service churning so many grads out that,
I think there is that forgetting that, you know, there's this assumption that the public service, everyone's old in the public service.
Look, there are some people in there. Absolutely. There are some people that you're like, really, Helen, you're still here after 30 years, really? And you can't give her a voluntary redundancy because her voluntary redundancy will be over $200,000. So
should be whatever the super was, you know.
Don't even get me started about the super of the public service. I had to learn all about that. It was a whole thing. No, it's called the CSS, best super scheme out there that has since stopped. Then you had the PWSDB. Oh, and that was great too. And then you have what we have, which is the PWSAP. I'm not a public servant, but because I used to be, I still have their super. So they only recently did this where you can third party contribute now. You used to not be able to do it. So technically I still have a little bit of public servant in me because I'm still using their super fund.
Come on, it's a superior super fund.
It's a superior super fund, man. I don't know what they put my money into, but I don't know. I just rolled it all into there and I just went, it's fine. It's fine.
No, I feel you on that one. My family got very excited when there was a possibility of me working for the ABC in the last year. And they're like, you'll be on the amazing super, you know. And my father's like, you know, we've just changed it. Dad changed all his super and everything when he refinanced everything a couple of years ago, and was like, I don't even want to think about your super because it'll just make me depressed. And like, I've changed mine for the better. It's not even close.
I believe it's 15.9%. I believe.
It's ridiculous.
But the education sector though is more. The education industry is more, at least in the university level, I know. I think they're up to 17% super contribution. But no, the public service contribution is fantastic. And I can't believe as an adult, I am willingly talking about super, but please contribute to your super. You will thank us later. I used to work in payroll as well. So like we'd always get that sort of stuff being like super, tax. I learned so much about that I'm now like, I sound boring, but I sound informed.
I worked for about 9 months in for, what do you call it? Not workers' rights. kind of workers' rights, union adjacent stuff.
Yep.
And going through industrial disputes and everything. The amount that I learned about in like industrial relations law in the 9 months has been like so much more beneficial. I read through my friends' like contracts to figure out the dodgy stuff. Yeah,
I do too. I have my friends come up to me and ask me to read their contracts, and I do not offer advice. I want to make that very clear. But it's like, because they do speak a different language. And so do the public service in a way. They speak an entirely different language, and so it's like almost as if you're a translator.
Yeah,
You're just like, okay, this is what this means, and they're like, oh, and I'm like, why do they write it like that? They write it like that because they want to make sure that everything's airtight, that nothing can be just disputed in a way. The
best part is my brothers, who will refuse to ask for my help, and I'll ask them, oh, what's your leave entitlements, trying to figure out, how much time they've got off to sort. And my brother, who's just started an apprenticeship, has gone, I don't think I have leave. And I'm like, oh, poor baby. Me starting my first full-time job with 6 weeks leave.
I was shocked when I first started, because my first office job was the public service. It was the Department of Shared Services. If you ever meet anyone from the Department of Shared Services, all of us would just collectively go, ooh, like it was a hard slog. But I just remember losing my nana about the fact I got paid on public holidays. I lost it. I was like, because I worked in hospo. I'd done all that. And so like, yeah, you get paid on public. I was like, even if we don't work? And they're like, yes. And I was like, oh my God. It was the best day.
I figured out leave loading the other day and was like, shit.
Yes.
I'm being paid more to go on holidays.
This is great. I found out about the everything. And payroll is a little bit of a pervy thing as well.
Yeah.
But what it does set you up to do, because after I got out of the payroll thing, I thought it was completely normal to talk about salary, talk about leave, talk about all those sort of things. And then you get into the direct world of the office and you do not talk about your salaries. And I'm like,
no.
Oh, is this not normal? Do we not openly have discussions about this? But then I do remember we used to get pushed off into the side and locked in a room so that we could openly discuss salaries and stuff like that with other people. So it was a bit of an adjustment. The
other one that I found very strange is not telling people how much you're being charged for rent.
Oh yeah, okay.
And
that doesn't work with me. I'm in real estate now.
Yeah, I was about to say, I am like so transparent. Like I won't say it online, but if someone was chatting to me in person, I'm more than happy to tell them what I'm being paid or what I'm paying my landlord in rent. Yeah. But other people are like, on Friday, someone asked me as if it was some sort of taboo topic. I'm like, this is just how much I'm being charged in rent. Like,
it's just the whole money idea. Talking about money is a very sort of taboo sort of thing, and Canberra, I don't think, sets us up very well for that. I think I said the other day that there's this rule that you don't talk about politics at the dinner table. And I have never followed that rule in my life because of where I grow up. So my grandfather actually enjoys pissing me off at the dinner table when we talk about politics. He'll just say the most roguish stuff. And my parents have to be like, his age, Brianna. I was like, I don't care if he's 90. Like, I will end him. like
I love it.
Like, I don't care. He's still breathing. That counts. Like, it's just, but no, I think talking about money, talking about politics, talking about religion, all those sort of things, I actually enjoy talking about those things because they actually promote more honest conversations and they actually get you guys, like, the reason they're taboo, or even sex even, the reason they're taboo is because people feel self-conscious about it. But the minute you actually bring it to the forefront and then you realize you're not the strange one, it actually helps you contextualize everything and actually process things for you.
Or, if someone has like a different viewpoint that, I don't know, colloquially is considered as bad or, really weird or something. Yeah. And you walk through that thing, or that person knowing you then knows that you have that viewpoint or, does that thing, they can kind of go, well, maybe this is a bit more normal or a little bit more justified than I thought it was.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in Canberra, like you get so many different viewpoints on everything. I know we're considered a Labor seat, and I know we're considered more literally we were talking about this last night with my mate, and Canberra is considered a very open sort of territory. We are like, we had the highest yes vote in Australia, and that sort of thing. We like to be perceived as being very liberal, but we are still conservative in terms of like I don't know. We're a weird mix between liberal and conservative, and I think that is due to the fact that Canberra it's a Ngunnawal word. So for the Ngunnawal people that live in this space, Canberra means meeting place. So it's kind of all these views being mashed into this sort of libertarian conservative town.
Yeah.
And it's very weird. It's very weird if you live here and if you're part of the LGBTQ community and stuff. It's a very weird mix sometimes, and it's very hard to navigate.
I find it similar to like the centre of Brisbane where, all 3 seats federally flip to the Greens, which are beyond Labor. And I know that there are, so many rednecks still, within the Brisbane itself, so many really conservative people. And yet we have 3 Greens representatives federally for the 3 central seats.
That was awesome when I saw that on the election night. Oh God, I am Canberran. But when
No. I was up till about 2 a.m. that night. My brother was up later.
I was not. I went to bed at I think at like 10. I was like, oh, we're fine.
We were listening to Albo's speech, and I've never admitted this before, but the newsroom that I worked at we were working in radio, still talks about it. When Albo gave his speech, about 5 seconds in, I type a note on my phone, blow it up, and put it to the window of the studio. To the people who were listening, who were in studio at that point, and it's written, it's still saved on my phone. He's drunk, right? Because he sounded drunk to me at that point after working for 16 hours straight.
I think you might have been a bit sleep deprived and maybe drunk as well.
Well, definitely sleep deprived.
Not drunk. We were working. We were working. No drinking.
But it was so fascinating it is always fascinating to sit there and watch all that stuff happen. And I don't know. I always love. I don't know. I'm a stats nerd first and foremost. So I'll take an election every day. It's uber mega stats.
I just love how intense the graphs and everything go, like how he has the screens and the projections. I'm like, far out. Like they put so much effort into this, and they get that one guy every 4 years to come out and he gets it right pretty much every time. And I'm like, it's like an Olympics for political nerds. I love it.
And then, like, whenever there's an international election, I follow Anthony Green on Twitter, I think. Yes. And back when Twitter wasn't a cesspit, and
it was a cesspit. It's just more of a swamp now.
Yeah. It's becoming more Floridian day by day. But he would be just answering all the dumbest questions and like having to explain that, not every voting system is the same outside of Australia. I'm like, are we turning into the Americans here?
I think we're definitely influenced, but no, I think we enjoy it too much. I think we enjoy being rascals too much.
And the Australian Electoral Commission on Twitter through the campaign were on fire.
They were great. This is like, but I love them. But this is also why TikTok wouldn't work for the public service. And this is why. Because, like, you need someone who's just going to spit fire and just not care at all. And there are too many cooks in the kitchen in the public service to be able to make that happen. There'll be one there, her name's Helen, and she'll be like, no, that makes us look bad. It's like, that's the point, Helen. Like, we're not perfect.
Someone was explaining, and it's fairly obvious when you've worked with a brand before, but like why it takes forever to jump on a TikTok trend as a brand. Yeah. And it's like, because you've gone through like 7 sets of people who've all made their own edits and own suggestions and denied about it. And
it's ultimately, and when they do the trend though, they usually just give it to the Gen Zer, expecting them to know exactly what to do. And the thing is, I call them the absorbers or the creators. You're either absorbing the content or you're making the content, and you can be both, but you got to have a passion for it at the same time. And just giving it to a Gen Zer who might not want to do that, just expecting them to know exactly what to do. I've seen not public servants do it, but I've seen private companies do it, and they're shocking. It's so cringe. Yeah. It's so cringe. And I'm just there going, oh, guys, like, just don't. Like, think of, like, I think, it was a law firm, and it was, and the sync was out too. The sound sync was out too. And I was like, I mean, I've done a sound out sync as well where I don't line up my sound, but I'm just like, oh, for some reason that just makes my skin crawl. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the ecosystem within the public service as well is just, it's hilarious. It's utopia and I love it. It's my aunt and uncle who used to work in the public service refused to watch that show. And it's great.
That's great. I've been meaning to watch Fisk on the ABC as well.
Oh, that's true. Yep.
And I'm like, I know of all things saw a video on Facebook about it. And I was just like, I haven't watched that yet. And I'm like, I purport to be this person who loves, Australian-made content. And I've been very terrible at consuming my Australian content. So I've got to get back to that.
I know. I love it too. So I need to watch Fisk too. I haven't seen it. So no, I'm very keen as well. But yes, I agree with you. We need to be supporting the media in Australia a bit more.
And you work in real estate as well, which seems to be like Australia's second favourite topic.
Oh, literally. Like I'm just hitting all the points, aren't I? I talk about politics, I talk about real estate, and I talk about TikTok. So it's great. I am a real estate agent. I work obviously here in Canberra. I work at LJ Hooker. So I am a sales agent. And people go, because they assume I'm property management. And I'm not going to say that's gendered. I also do not have the backbone to be a property manager. I do not have the backbone. You need to have this intense assurity of yourself and strength. And I had to do a little bit. You have to manage people in sales in terms of like sometimes you have to deal with tenants. And some of the stories that I've had to deal with, I'm like, no, not property management. No, you are dealing with some of the worst humans in property management. You're just dealing with greedy people in sales sometimes. But most of the time I'm dealing with lovely people. I haven't had many bad experiences. But yeah, I sell property for all around Canberra essentially. And so I'm always on at the dinner party. I'm always, how's the real estate game going?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I guess I'm not eating my dinner for an hour.
It is ridiculous. I don't know where, like, I for context, I live at the bottom of the hill from a fairly big ski resort.
Yep.
And I got the job in like early December, and I came down here and was like, I need to find a place to live, and let's find that, and then I'll move down, once everything's sorted. And I was here for 3 days and could not find a place to live.
Yeah, right.
It was crazy, yeah. It's just, I think especially in towns that are growing, places like, your capital cities, for example, but also, towns where there is large amounts of tourism and local tourism are really booming at the moment, and so they've run out of houses. So I know the council here is like trying to desperately approve new housing development plans to just build some more housing for people to live in. Yeah. And there's nowhere to rent either.
No, Canberra has its own migration pattern as well when it comes to rentals and stuff. So we go through, and our renters are a bit of a mix. It's not just university students or anything like that. It's also majoritively public servants and defence.
Defence as well, yeah.
Yeah, defence massively. And actually, like, tenants in the ACT are the most protected in Australia for that reason of the demographic of renters we have. So there is all these, like, sort of rules that protect the tenant no matter what. When I hear stories about what happens in New South Wales or in Queensland, sometimes in Victoria as well, I'm flabbergasted because call it privilege, call it ignorance, whatever you want, and maybe I should educate myself on that for that reason. But I'm just, how can you allow that? How does this happen? Like, people having to live in cracked houses, or people, like, I've seen like those funny ones on like they're like, it's like a bedroom and a bath in one, and you're like, how does that work? Like, how is that legal? So we have the same reactions. It's just and we all work in different ways.
No, it is very fascinating, and being having friends who are still uni students, it's very fascinating to chat to them. One of my friends is renegotiating or trying to find a new place at the moment because they want to up her rent, and she's like, if you want to up the rent, can you fix the hole in the ceiling that hasn't been fixed for the last 2 years? living in Brisbane where it floods and stuff, it's just ridiculous.
Canberra is not great either, by the way. Like, I'm not saying
Yeah.
Canberra's like this,
No.
like the golden child of renting. It's not, but it's just. Yeah, I've heard similar situations. We had mold. We had a lot of mold houses there at one stage.
Yeah.
But here in Canberra as well, if they want to up the rent, they can only do it by 10%. So
Jealous.
yeah, that's another thing. Like, listening to people and their landlords are raising the rent by like hundreds of dollars, and I'm just there going, oh no, you can't do that here. Like, you can only if it's the same person and you want to raise the rent, it can only go up by 10% of what the rent is at that time.
Yeah.
Once they leave, you can do it whatever the market says and however much you want, but you cannot do it when there's tenants in there, and you have to give them 8 weeks notice.
Yeah.
And you have to, in writing.
I've been super lucky, to be honest, in my renting experience, because my landlords have either been family friends or someone else dealt with the landlord, or my parents owned the house that I lived in for a
lovely.
little while.
No,
So,
use it. Use
yeah,
it.
very, very much like casual. And, the house wasn't in the greatest condition, I will say that. But, knowing that, like, I could help out and fix the house, because the landlord also wanted me to fix the house, and it wasn't going to be much of a, like, I was going to help my parents fix a house anyway. So, may as well fix the one that my parents own.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's very fascinating to see, from my side, and then watch my friends really struggle as well. Makes me feel, as I think I said the other day, it's the closest I feel to a Nepo baby, because my parents own a house.
I love that. I think we all have nepotism in us, though.
A little bit, yeah.
I think, like, but in terms of, oh wow, okay, we're going to really go on this. Like, if you grow up in Canberra. And I'm just referencing Canberra again. But if you grow up in Canberra and you want to get a job and stuff, and your parents might have the in at a particular public servant or public service department or something like that, that's a privilege that you might have a door cracked open. It's the same sort of principle with the celebrities and stuff, is that, like, they're just using the skills that their parents have used, and they're opening doors that some of us, it's like, some people I know people that have applied for the grad position like 4 or 5 times. And then there's me who got in based on someone I know. I interviewed, I did everything right, and I did through all the checks, I did everything correct, but it's who you know. They don't teach you that at school. They try to, but it's who you know.
And also, like, school networking is, I don't know, a joke as well. It'd be nice if, like, schools were like, no, we recognize that the real world is half nepotism. Let's, I don't know, pull some strings and some weight around, and, bring in, this set of people who we know are, I would make really great connections with, a lot of our students, and some of them might go into a job that way.
Yeah.
Another example for me is, my brother worked at my father's workplace for a different company, but at my father's workplace. And because he had the same last name, and because he was working there, he got into the apprenticeship that he wanted, kind of based on that. And it wasn't, like, to me, it's like, that's not 100% nepotism, because my father is the kind of person who's like, you kind of still have to work
to earn
for
it. You have to earn it. Yeah.
But just by his name, there was this assumption that he works a particular way as well, which is very fascinating, I think.
It is. And I do think, like, I like the fact that your dad was still like, you still have to work for it. And I think there is an element of that. And I think, like, you still have to work for the position that you want, or work for the opportunity that you want. But I am of the belief that if you have a network, utilize it. Like, the reason why I got into real estate was because I had a fantastic network, and I'm able to help people. Ultimately, that's why I do this job, is that I want to help people. And I got a lot of help when I was getting my place and stuff. And so I want to just, like, it's like paying it forward. I've gone on a tangent. Sorry, let me bring it back. But,
no, I feel you.
Yeah, it's just, you got to be appreciative and understand, as long as you understand the privilege that you are having, if you do get an opportunity based off the people you know, whether that be family or friends, as long as you understand the privilege, you do not take it for granted.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it, and you work hard still. If you just assume you'll deserve that position, that's when I have a problem.
Yeah. It's fascinating. I'm the eldest of 10 children, so I get to see the whole gambit. Oh, yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
So I get to see the whole gambit of, like, I don't know, I've got a 15-year-old brother at the moment who I think he assumes that myself and the two brothers between him and I have never really worked for anything.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, no, I slogged through a 3-year degree, almost believing at the end I would never get a job in the industry I wanted, to get to where I am now. You know, your brother moved to the Northern Territory, to Alice Springs for a year, to try to figure out what he wanted and didn't want to do.
Yep, that's awesome.
And you know, your other brother is just like received nothing but questions about his degree because he's doing a degree in physics. And the last time someone in our family did a degree in science, they dropped out. So
you got to be pretty sure of yourself to do a degree in physics, though. Like, you got to be like pretty centered and know that that's what your shtick is. Like, physics isn't for. I tried.
No.
I tried to read that book, and I think I lost it. I want to buy another copy. It's like the 7 important lessons in physics.
Oh yeah,
and it's like, it's only 70 pages long, but it's the longest read I've ever had to do because I'm just like, I really want to understand this.
Yeah, no. I definitely get it. Like, I did physics and chemistry in high school and almost ended up in a science degree, but it was more the fact that it is a really, like, you've got to really dedicate yourself to what you plan on doing as well. My big frustration at the moment is that some of my friends are finishing degrees and not having, you don't have to have like it or like your whole life planned out, but having an idea of where you want to go from, you know, you got to think a step ahead. It's like driving, right? You can't just look at the car in front of you.
No.
You got to look at, you know, 1 or 2 cars ahead to kind of anticipate the decision that you're going to have to make.
Yeah, I do agree with that, but I didn't go to university. I went for 2 weeks, I think, and then I got the job opportunity at APS, and I jumped on that instead. So, yeah, look, I don't have a piece of paper, but I am of the belief, and as I'm sure your brother who's doing the apprenticeship, there are so many different ways to get to the goal that you want to do. I remember being so lost in that time. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I just saw that like this opportunity came up, and it was a traineeship at the Department of Shared Services in payroll. They wanted to try and the goal was to try and promote like more financial services sort of people that can actually help the department. That was the whole point, and it was a traineeship. And to this day, I have never heard of anyone else having the title that I did. I was an APS 1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was an APS 1. So I haven't heard of anyone else in the last 10 years have an APS 1 role, but I was, and it was considered a traineeship. And and that set me on the trajectory of where I am now. But did I think 2 cars ahead like you? No, it was more just like, well, I just went with my gut. I just went with my gut and just went, oh, okay, this is what I'll do now. And then I was there for a bit, and I just went, I had a fantastic team. Like my team, they blockaded a lot of the office culture for me, more than I ever anticipated. But they told me they blockaded a lot, but I was like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. They did, because then when I got separated, wow.
Yeah. Hey, I think the other part of it as well is, you know, if you want to work somewhere, you've got to be, you know, understand, you've got to surround yourself by the people you want to be around, right? You know?
Yeah.
There's no way that I would have been continuing with journalism if I didn't work at the radio station 4ZZZ, you know. And I've been reflecting on that in the last week and a bit since I left there, because it's been very hard for me to leave. It's been quite sad because, you know, the friends I've made over 3 years that, you know, you're kind of moving on from.
Emotional pull to it.
Yeah, and I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about some of my other friends in my degree who I had a conversation with one of them who was feeling quite lost, and it was so fascinating to sit there and go, I don't feel as lost because I've I've been able to work with people who have like lifted me up. And so
Yeah.
regardless of, yes, I got the piece of paper, kind of felt like I had to get the piece of paper, but and to be honest, it was probably a little bit of a con. The thing that really kept me doing what I wanted to do was the people. It wasn't the piece of paper.
Absolutely.
Yes, I now have a $30,000 piece of paper, lying around in my bedroom, but the more important thing for me was the experiences I had along the way.
Absolutely.
It felt more like to be honest, my journalism degree felt more like a traineeship because I worked in a radio station half the time. But, it's everyone's. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Uni doesn't have to be completely academic.
No, no.
I think that's really important too.
I still had the uni experience. Like I played netball for the University of Canberra. I play AFL for the Australian National University. I still went to the parties. I still photographed a lot of the parties too. Just because I just am of the belief that I don't have a piece of paper behind me and I don't have that sort of thing. But I applaud my parents for recognizing that. They sort of recognize that I'm not the best student. I'm a good student. I can get by. I can do all those sort of things, but I don't thrive off an academic platform. I thrive off doing things. I thrive off being thrown into it and be like, make it stick, Brianna. I'm like, okay, let's go.
Yeah. I think recognizing that through high school is really important as well. There's a lot of friends of mine who didn't recognize that and became completely disenfranchised with the uni system.
It's ingrained into us, right? Like it's ingrained from high school to uni to job. And then when you don't get into the uni degree you want, which was me, I wanted to go to RMIT and study photography. So therefore I changed trajectories and I went to CIT and I studied photography. But it's so ingrained in us, that sort of idea and that pathway, that all of a sudden when we stop and we have autonomy, we're just like, wait, what do we do? Like, how do we do this? Like, I've been told what to do my entire life. I've been told when to study. I've been told how to get there. I've been told this will help me. And then you get all that cliche sort of, but we want experience. And you're like, geez, but I've done everything right. I've done what you've told me to do, and yet I'm here and yet you're saying no. I don't get it. So
exactly, yeah. And I think this is a lot, this boils down a lot of the frustrations a lot of people have with a lot of things. They're like, I've done what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
And it didn't work.
No.
And I think it's so fascinating to watch people get frustrated with that, because you really learn a lot about the people you're watching happen, or if it's happening to you, learn a lot about yourself and go, is this what I want to be doing? A perfect classic example is I'm so used to being told what to do. I had 4 days in the week before my move where I had I just didn't do anything because I looked at the boxes around my room and I didn't do anything. Yeah. And I rang my mother on like a Sunday afternoon. I'm like, Mum, I haven't done anything in the last 4 days. And she goes, go fucking shopping. Get out of here. Don't come back for another 3 hours. Go and do something. And it kicked me into gear, to be honest. But it was so fascinating because it does happen, and you don't realize it from time to time that it has happened to you, and then you look back and you go, oh shit, that happened to me.
Yeah, and to go back to the idea that you're just sort of trudging through, like going through the APS, going through the office sort of things. It's only now, being in real estate, have I actually realized I'm doing something I enjoy. I wasn't good at the jobs I did in the APS. I wasn't good at them. And that's even more taboo, to admit that you weren't good at a job. Yeah. Like, to admit that you were not meant for that is crazy. But like, I felt like I went through a degree sort of simulation where it was like I did the job, I did the 9 to 5, I got the money, and everyone complains about their job, right? Everyone does. It's completely normal, completely natural. So I naturally thought, oh, people are complaining. Yeah, I can complain. I don't really enjoy my jobs, but that's normal. And it wasn't until like I kept making mistakes, and I wasn't motivated to fix them. And all of a sudden I was just standing there going, is this even what I want to flip and do? Why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I have thought that is what I need to do. I need to get the job. I need to work hard. I need to not enjoy my life. And it wasn't until I got fired at a different job. I worked at a defense consultancy firm. I just went, okay, I've tried this so many times now.
Yeah.
What's different? Do I need to move away? And all of a sudden, yes, it was absolutely terrifying because at that time I had a mortgage. I was doing all these things, and I was just like, the world is my oyster, but right now I don't want to eat the oyster. I am petrified because all of a sudden my trajectory went from there to wide open, and I was I was petrified, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I wanted to do marketing or social media or real estate or anything like that. But then I relied on my network that I had built up, and I was able to find real estate. So
yeah,
we all just go through this massive feeling of helplessness that I think is completely normal, but we make it feel like it's not.
Yeah, exactly. And, to kind of tie it back to Canberra as well, sometimes, it does look like the surroundings around there's nothing there, and, you're stuck. I think this is very much a country town thing, you're stuck in the country town that, you're in.
Our farming industry is the public service. You grow up, you go into the public service, you do the public service, and that's our farming. That's our farming industry.
And there's nothing stopping you from innovating or changing the way that happens, or whether you do it at all. And I think I think it really goes to show that there are, everyone goes, Australia, it's not very, there's not a lot going on in Australia, but there really is, and that you have the opportunity to go and do so much more that. It can't even be thought of. Some of the opportunities that I've been offered or I've heard about, I've gone, I just can't believe that that's happening. It's sometimes it's just stepping that what if and going, what if, Canberra isn't shit? What if, I step beyond the whole, I must be in the public service, or I step beyond, do I need a degree, or, everything. You start breaking down those thoughts, it really kind of becomes very freeing. It
is very freeing. And I think what's even more freeing is when you're not part of the public service here in Canberra. And you still choose to live here.
Yeah.
And that's what people find absolutely fascinating about me. They're like, but you don't fit the mold. And I'm like, no, I don't. And happily. I think the thing I love about the Canberra thing is, I don't fit the mold. So therefore I'm going to, it actually allows me then to make my own mold.
Yeah.
But there is a massive, creatively based, it's an underground creative space in Canberra. There are so many creative, people, and especially in the private sector. The private sector actually has quite a few creative people, and you're like, because everyone thinks you're public service.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
You kind of get to subvert those expectations, and then that's, something interesting on top of everything else.
Oh, yeah. It's like we all, at the minute we find out we're another private sector person, we're like, hang on, you're private sector? They're like, yes. And we're like, wow. Well, let's be friends.
They become way more attractive.
Yeah, let's be friends. Yes, the dating side of things. Defense. Contractor.
Having family who works in defence, and who has spent time in Canberra in the last year.
We don't talk about Russell.
Thank you for coming on the podcast, Bri.
No,
it's been so lovely chatting with you.
I don't even know what we spoke about now. I've completely forgotten.
I was about to say, I'm now trying to reflect on what kind of episode title I'm going to write. I have no idea. This one's going to be...
This one was just everywhere.
Yeah, it went everywhere.
Welcome to my brain.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Welcome to Australia. We're a little bit of
Australia.
where those things outside the car dealerships, the floppy men.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at this.
Very neurodiverse conversation that's just happened. So if anyone who is neurodiverse is listening to this, they'll get it.
Oh, yeah, they totally will.
Yeah, absolutely. And neurotypicals will just be there going, all right, sounds great.
No, they'll listen to it, they'll zone out, they'll be doing something else, and they'll zone back in and going, what the fuck happened in this
How did we get from
conversation?
real estate to talking about police? I don't get this. How did we get from the public service to talking about university degrees? How do we? That's actually probably not as big of a leap.
Where can people find you on the internet?
Oh gosh, where can't you? Pretty much my details are all online at this point. So I'll start with my jobs. I'll start with my titles, so my boss knows that this can be considered work time. So I work for LJ Hooker Gungahlin here in Canberra. If you need anything, TikTok wise, I'm Bri Jean 198. I am the same for Instagram. I've done that as a deliberate marketing thing, and that's pretty much me. I just do funny content. I try to, at least.
Yeah. Has there been anything that you've been listening to, playing, or getting involved with that you wanted to plug?
Obviously, like my ANU footy team. I love them to bits. So if you they are a really good starter grassroots sort of footy club. You do not have to be playing, or you don't have to know how to play AFL to do that. Just head down to the field at ANU South Oval, and they'll literally be there for you on a Tuesday and a Thursday. Pre-season has started. I have not been. Sorry, guys. And but honestly, there's that. I host trivia on Wednesday nights at the Duxton. I host bingo nights at Young and Frisky in Gungahlin on Thursday nights. And if I'm not doing any of that, then I'm sleeping.
Look, and to be honest, if you're not from the Canberra area, just in general, get involved with your local footy team.
Yes.
Go and play some trivia. Go play some bingo.
Trivia is
that age
fantastic
demographic.
for new people anywhere. Trivia is a great thing to do just anywhere in Australia. If in doubt and cannot make friends, go to a trivia night. You'll be good.
It sounds, it is. Trivia nights are always so fun, and if there's enough alcohol involved, it gets chaotic enough that it's like way more fun.
I host it on a Wednesday night. Like, we don't get crazy, but if anything, like, it's more entertaining. I think someone said to me, it's like, you are the most entertaining one, but your questions are not great. And I went, well, I don't write the questions, so it's fine. I just host. It's fine. It's fine. I'm doing my job. I'm doing my job. That's all I need.
We did a trivia night once. My family does it fairly regularly.
Yeah, there's always regulars. We can tell who the regulars are.
And the last one my mother went to, they got drunk enough that I think my mother cheated, and didn't tell anyone, and then they won. So
I have a very honest system at my trivia. It's not like a super serious one. It's just very much just like, we're here for a fun time. I stuff up words as well, like all the time. I think I said tarantula once instead of tarantula. And I said Nigeria instead of Niagara. So it's a bit of a fun time for us, and like the crowd actually gets way more into it when they have to correct me, they're waiting for me to be like, what's she gonna do? And I'm like, your guess is as good as mine, guys. So no, that's a really, really fun time, and it gets my extrovert energy out. I sleep like a log every Wednesday night after trivia. I'm like out cold. So yeah, it's really, really fun. I really enjoy it. But trivia is a great time. Even if you don't think you have many like good friends, just take them down to a trivia and you'll become like better friends.
Yeah,
it just
exactly.
breaks the ice.
You figure out how their brains work as well a little bit, which is fun.
All of a sudden they know a lot about geography. I was like, how the hell did Dennis know that? All right, Dennis, thank you.
Cannot be as bad as my best friend in high school, who we're still friends today, will continuously tease me for studying maths. And I mentioned it to him the other day, but he's like, but it's true. I'm like, you're not wrong, but can you please stop teasing me for it?
No, you'll be great at a trivia then.
Oh, I love a good map.
We always say like, which one's further south or which one's further north? And you're like, I don't know. I don't know half the answers.
No, yeah. And you learn something as well as the host,
No,
I'm guessing.
Absolutely not. It just goes out of my mouth and I don't remember anything. Everyone's like, I'll bring you to my trivia. I was like, I won't help you. Like, I literally look at the questions the hours before. Like,
yeah.
No.
Yeah. Amazing. You can find me at sam.the.journalist on Instagram and on TikTok, and Sam OB Journalist on Twitter, because I'm still there. I'm still scrolling.
I am not on Twitter. I am not on Twitter, thankfully.
It's just, I have problems with Twitter, but I also understand
I think we all have problems with Twitter.
I also just, people have tried to convince me to jump on other platforms. I'm like, nothing communicates quite the way that we communicate on Twitter.
No.
And it is way addictive. I don't know what Twitter did, but it is so addictive to be on that platform.
But that's how I feel about TikTok.
Oh yeah, the same too. Like, it's just different forms of communication. If I want to read something instead of be watching videos, I'm scrolling through Twitter and watching people fight about, I don't know, a 16-year-old journalist saying he won't vote for the Labor Party.
Funny. No, I feel
I should
a
get
bit...
Leo on, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, you should. But I kind of get a bit of both then, because of the political content I do sometimes, especially the New Zealand stuff I've done recently. Oh, the comments. I'm just there going...
Oh, people are nasty.
Vicious. At one point, I think I saw a comment about JFK's assassination. I was like, how did we get here? Like, because I get every single notification. And I'm just there going, what? I don't engage, because that'll just help. That'll just spur them on. And I'm like, no. So then I feel like I have to monitor it. But then I'm like, no, that's a full-time job in itself. So I just step back.
I did a video last night about an Indigenous voice to Parliament, and someone got mad at me.
Yes.
Someone got mad at me for it because I said it's particularly dumb that some politicians are choosing sides before we even have like the legal recommendations, and how is this exactly going to work?
Peter Dutton does that.
Yeah.
Who? What? Peter Dutton? What? Hang on.
Tony Abbott?
What?
Advance Australia.
Mr. Potato Head? What?
The other one was, of all things, what spurred it on was this random councillor from the south of Sydney who was talking about how he wasn't voting for it. I'm like,
we don't even know what the do we know what the question is?
I think we know what the question is going to be, but the words that are being added to the Constitution, we have a proposal for them, but that's going through legal testing and Indigenous testing at the moment. Because I've worked with the Uluru Dialogue for a little while over the last year since it was all announced.
Why didn't we talk about this? This is way more what I want to be. Yes, keep going.
Yeah, no. Anyway, I worked with them for a little while, and so I know that, they're still... Like, I think they've only really gotten halfway around Australia with chatting to lawyers, and I have no idea where the Indigenous testing's at, but I know that I know what they've recommended. I think they've got to go back and now convert it into some, white political wording so we can add it to our very white
Reconciliation
constitution.
is a white word. Reconciliation is such a white word. It's meant to make us all feel better. I remember listening to some aunties say that. They're like, reconciliation is just your word. And I was like, oh my God, it is. You're so right. Yeah. So, no, it was very, here's the thing. And that was the problem with was it the 1999 referendum, or was it?
1999, I think.
1999 for independence. That was the problem. The question was too ambiguous and no one understood what it meant. So I'm hoping that, I think you're right. I haven't seen the question in a bit. So I just hope that we kind of, I don't even know why it's a debate, to be honest, but politics, you got to allow the other side.
We do have to remember that Pauline Hanson exists, and she will yell as she exits the Parliament. I have never, by the way, this is my one point. I don't see any politicians in Canberra. I don't know anyone who does. They stay in Barton, and that is it. Yeah,
we do not see them. Everyone's like, oh my God, so many politicians. I'm like, where? Show me where. I literally do. There are more politicians in Sydney or in Melbourne that you will see more consistently than you will see in Canberra. Like, no. They don't venture out of their hotel rooms, if they even get to their hotel rooms, because they're usually only here for a couple of days.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. And I wish Parliament sat a bit more so there were actually politicians out and about and seeing, what Canberra had to offer.
Stay away. I like my I like my restaurants. Stay away. I'm joking.
I once went to a pub and Dick Smith and his friends were
Jesus.
There in the pub. He was in Bursville. He'd flown in and we just spent 4 days crossing the Simpson Desert. And so we're all dusty and dirty, and Dick Smith and his friends are sitting on the other table at this very small pub eating dinner, and the oldest lady in our group turned around and was like, I think that's Dick Smith. And then
you'll
went and
see Dick
asked one
Smith
of the
before
waiters.
you see a politician in Canberra. You'll see Dick Smith in the middle of nowhere before you see a Canberran politician. I mean, we see Katie Gallagher, we see David Pocock, but they're also senators in Canberra. Like, that's their seat.
I was about to say, I think I've seen more of our federal politicians in Brisbane, and I don't see our state politicians. I
haven't seen Albo. I haven't seen Albo at all.
I would love to meet Albo. I'd love to have a chat with him.
Yeah. Yeah, and people go, "Oh, why isn't it? What? Like, we're not hearing much about what's happening from the PM." I'm like, "Yeah, that's the whole point. He's not meant to be making headlines every day.
No,
we're just being conditioned to think that because of Mr.
The stupid
Morrison."
fucking 24-hour news cycle. Anyway,
but
I hate it.
The Uluru thing, the Uluru Heart referendum is going to be very interesting to sort of see. And Mr. Dutton. Look.
From what I've heard, there's internal defections about to happen. As well.
Yes, because this is all going to be about a personal choice rather than be about a political alliance. So I'm not going to be surprised in that regard. But it's just it's simple. It's so simple. And they're like, "Oh, it's a third parliament." No, it's not. It's not. It's not a third parliament. It's just an acknowledgement that they exist, people, and they should have a voice.
It's the least we could do.
Oh my God, it's the bare minimum. They are asking us for the bare minimum.
Actually, I think it's worse than the bare minimum because there's a long list of what the bare minimum looks like, and it's much more demanding.
They just want a voice. What? Makes me angry.
Oh, yeah. I feel you. Oh, far out. It gets me mad.
It gets me mad, but then, it's like, how can you have discussions when you're that mad? So I need to, research it a bit more so then I can have the discussions, because if I'm having an emotional reaction, I'm not going to help the conversation.
I think what would be really great, and this really transitions so nicely, is Girt by David Hunt. The first book especially really talks about the way that we initially treated the Indigenous people and how that devolved into chaos and stupidity, and how divisions within the leadership of colonial New South Wales kind of wrecked any chance of us having a good relationship with the Indigenous people, no matter how well-intentioned each new governor was. Someone pushed him over the edge. Some white guys turned around and said, "No, we should just shoot him." And anyway.
They make up 3% of our population and yet make up 65% of the incarcerated inmates.
And
crazy.
it's a similar set of percentages for health issues. They live in some of the most rural communities in Australia. They keep Australia ticking in terms of they look after the environment in rural Australia that we aren't bothered to even look at. We should
be learning, like when we had those fires, the South Coast fires. I'm not sure if. I'm sure you were aware of it, but they really affected not only the South Coast massively, affected all of us, and Canberrans as well. And coming out of that, learning that the Indigenous people said, well, we have practices that can help actually not prevent it, but actually minimise the impact. How are we not taking the learnings of people who have been here for millennia and applying it into our way of life? They have the knowledge.
Yeah, we are so European sometimes. My dad comes from Alice Springs. My dad comes from Alice Springs, and he makes this comment all the time. The way that we talk about weather is so European. It's just not European. How the weather works here in Australia. And it's the same. Our climate is so much more different from the rest of the world. The way that, because we have so many unique species and bits and pieces, the way that they all interact means it's a completely different set of, habitats. And we shouldn't, just not burn everything, because at one stage you're going to have fires like the South Coast fires, or the Black Friday bushfires, or I think there's a couple of headlines this week reflecting on the massive bushfires that tore through the suburbs of Canberra a few years ago.
That was in 2003.
Okay,
so that we're coming up to nearly 30 years of that. That was I was 7 when that happened, and it was hectic. Duffy, the suburb Duffy. you want to talk about a strong, resilient suburb in Canberra? That's Duffy. Like, they copped it, and they copped it again during the South Coast ones too, because it was coming. We could literally see it coming over the top of the mountains, and we were like,
"Oh wow,
crap!" Like, and yeah, it was intense. It was very, very intense.
Bushfires. Yeah,
Well,
they do so much for the environment, but they're so devastating.
So many South Coast businesses as well, man. And Canberrans were down there at that time too.
And every man and their dog were down from Sydney because Queensland was way too fucking hot.
Yep.
I was in Western Queensland when that all got really bad, and I had friends of mine who were supposed to be working in Canberra for a few weeks and had all their trips cancelled. And then I think a few weeks later you had all that hail as well.
Oh my God, the hail. There are still cars as you drive towards the airport of the hail damage from 2 years ago. All of our insurance claims have gone up now. Thank you to the insurance companies.
Yeah.
Our premiums have gone up.
Yay.
But
Awesome.
we won't have another hail thing now for like a decade.
Yeah. Everyone will forget about it, and then they're like, shit, this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. It happened 10 years ago, guys. Come on.
It's the same as snow, whenever snow happens here in Canberra. Where it happened at an AFL match we went to once, and it was the funniest thing. Like, they're like GWS, and I think it was Hawthorn, were like running around Manuka Oval, and all of a sudden it's snowing, and all the Canberrans are like, keep playing! And the guys are like, what's going on?
We only get these games once every now and then. The snow comes more frequently.
We only get 3 games a year, people. Be on, please.
Did you hear that the basketball's considering expanding and doing like a full sets of games in Canberra in terms of like making it a permanent spot?
It's about bloody time. But also the WNBA. Is it the NBA? No.
NBA, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I don't follow basketball as much as I follow AFL.
I just watched a report last night. So.
The Capitals, the Canberra Capitals.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Go to a that is a good game. Like, it's not America. It's not like, but it's high energy. It's great. It's a great day out. Like, it doesn't take that long. Yeah. It's so good. The Canberra Capitals, they are better than the Raiders, than the Brumbies. Okay, I'm not saying that. Actually, no, we'll take that out. But they are definitely up there. They are definitely up there in terms of just like entertaining sport. So when you say like the basketball, I'm like, it's already here. What are you talking about? They're here all the time.
I don't understand exactly. I don't know. It was very vague because they were talking about Tasmania and how Tasmania, because it doesn't have usually a national team for a lot of sports, and they've got 2 national teams. Yeah.
We feel you. We feel you, Tassie.
And if you're in Queensland, go and watch the women's rugby. The women's rugby is amazing. It's more fun.
Stop. The rugby. The rugby. It is so good. Rugby sevens too.
So much more fun, yeah.
Oh, a very entertaining game. It's the Big Bash of rugby. It's just like, it's quick, it's moving, it's on board, but it is so much more entertaining than Big Bash.
Oh, yes. I went to a Big Bash game this year and was disappointed. As a kid, I loved it, but this was disappointing. I was very... It was awesome. Rugby sevens and stuff. We have a great rugby Brumbies team, women's, down here as well. They've really led the way in terms of women's rugby here. The Brumbies have support them very well. Yeah. So, and when we have a university such as University of Canberra that specialise in sport-related degrees, they have so much resources here. It's ridiculous. But it's not just like the sport physiologists or the nutritionists or the dietitians. It's also the media, like PR, journalism, sports media. They all help them, and it's great to see. It's lovely. One of my memories of being in Canberra for that obligatory Canberra trip was going to the AIS and just watching how amazing it all is. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Tangent. I'm so sorry.
We just keep going. We're never going to stop at this point.
We have to just cut it off at the knees.
Thank you for listening to Content and Capable. You can follow the podcast socials at Content, the letter N, Capable on Instagram and Twitter. You can send a super boring email to us through contentandcapablepod@gmail.com. The art was done by Opia. You can follow them on Opia_art on Instagram. Opia is spelled OPIA. Feel free to message them about making art for your project. Our music was written, recorded, and edited by Nora Strauss-Riggs. You can find Nora at Kane_I, that's I as in the body part, on Instagram and Twitter. Feel free to message her about making music for your project or editing your podcast.
This season on Of the Eldest Gods,
we make our way through the maze of...
Labyrinth.
Yeah, Labyrinth, whatever. And we tell you all about the next book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series.
And explain the myth context as we go along.
So, the whole stuck in a maze thing is just a gimmick for this book, right?
Yeah, sure, Ray.
Hey, Charlie, where the fuck are we?
Only you can save us from the labyrinth by listening to our podcast.
Help!
Content and Capable is a podcast all about answering the question, how do you adult? Don't forget to rate and review it on your favourite podcatcher, and I will see you next Monday for another episode.
Deus Ex Media.